Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday Catch-Up. My name's Adam Holmes. I'm a songwriter from Edinburgh in Scotland, and I've been making albums for the last 13 years. I've acted in films, I've written books, I've made dozens of albums, I've won awards for my albums, I've performed on the television, I've had my songs featured in major motion pictures, I've had my songs played on the radio regularly. And I'm telling you this not to impress you, but just to gain a little bit of your trust so that you might think this short episode could be worth a little bit of your precious time and attention. Every Sunday I take a little bit of time to unpack something that I've been struggling with in my journey as an artist, and I tell you how I'm handling it and overcoming it, and you can see if there's any nuggets in there that you can apply to your own life. This week I've been in Edinburgh, I've been hanging out with my daughter Rosa. It was just Christmas there. Me and her mum share custody of her. We do a 50-50 split, so I have her half the time and she's with her mum half the time, and that's going really good. We have a decent relationship, me and her mum. She's going good between the two houses and she seems really happy, so that's amazing. It's an achievement in my own life that I feel immensely proud of. It's the main achievement in my life, actually, that I feel proud of, to have a little kid who feels happy going between two houses, and Rosa certainly is that. So I've had her over the last few days, and she's just been hanging out in the house. When school isn't on, I like to give her a lot of time to just be in the house and hang out, because there's so many things going on in life, and I feel very conscious that these years are precious. She's 6 years old right now, and I feel very conscious that these are precious years that I want to make the most of, and my way of making the most of them is just being in the moment, hanging out with her. So she's been kicking about the house doing drawings, and she got this little unicorn that she's been painting. I have been finishing an album, which, as you can see in the background, I've got the rooms, by my standards, a little bit chaotic, which is not really that chaotic at all, but I've got my microphones, there's stuff you can't see, there's instruments everywhere, and I've really been in the soup of making this album happen in the last kind of few days, whilst hanging out with Rosa, which is, I love it, because a lot of my happiest memories of my own dad are hanging out, he was a cabinet maker, are hanging out in his workshop and just being around the energy of him being in a project and making stuff. And it feels really good to share that with Rosa, to kind of share that sort of energy of me being in my life and in my work, and her being around, her working away on her little unicorn and stuff, and me making my album. So I've got 2 days left on my self-imposed deadline. I need deadlines, guys. I cannot create without a deadline. And it could be the chronic ADHD, but I need that last little bit of time just to kind of know that I'm going to finish it, to know that I'm going to make it happen. I need that. Personally, I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comments how you guys find deadlines. I think they're crucial. I think an artist without a deadline is a dreamer, right? So I need the deadline to get things done. This week, I've had quite a few messages from friends and members of my club, and just heard a general sentiment from people around me that there's a feeling of downness, right? And I think it's very natural at this time of year. January, February, if you could see out my window right now, is beautiful, and there's trees, and it's gorgeous, but it is snowing. It's very cold here in Scotland. These are the darkest days. It is getting lighter now, but I think there is a general sort of sentiment of downness. And I wanted to take a little moment to chat about what you can do when you're feeling down. Not as any kind of expert on the matter, just as a guy who I've managed to build a relative level of happiness. I feel that my life is pretty consistently fulfilled, let's say, not happy. I'm not a big believer in happiness. I think the search for happiness in my own life led me down a lot of quite negative paths, to be honest. But I do feel fulfilled, and I do feel emotionally regulated and stable most of the time, which for someone who came from quite a chaotic upbringing is another big achievement. And so I want to share some things that really helped me with that. And really this one's going out to anyone who's just feeling down right now and feeling like you're struggling a little bit right now. And I hope that these concepts can help you to pull yourself out of that a little bit. Not that there's a need to, not like in a snap out of it way, not like that. More just like, hopefully these can help you get through the tunnel a wee bit faster. The first concept I want to share with you, and I'm going to share these concepts through the medium of questions, right? The first question I want to ask you is, are you seeking type 1 fun or type 2 fun? I don't know if you guys ever heard of this concept. I personally love it. And I cannot remember where I heard it from. I'd like to know because I'd love to credit the original thinker of this thought, although I think it's one of these thoughts which is probably very timeless. I heard it. It might be Daniel Kaufman. It could be Daniel Kaufman. Anyway, type 1 fun, type 2 fun. Which are you seeking? Which are you having in your life? Which are you looking for? Examples of type 1 fun include watching Netflix, eating chocolate, eating food, shopping, things that immediately give you gratification, but on the other side of them, you're no better off. Those are examples of type 1 fun. Type 2 fun would be climbing up a mountain in the snow if you're able, or going round to see your grandparents, or going and doing some training, lifting some weights, sitting down to write something creative. These are examples of type 2 fun. Why are they type 2 fun? They're type 2 fun because initially you'll feel a resistance towards moving towards them, but they're actually the most fulfilling kinds of fun. And the reason they're the most fulfilling kinds of fun is because when you have completed them, you become more of yourself on the other side of them. Whereas type 1 fun, type 1 desire, you are not going to be a better person on the other side of watching Netflix. You're not going to be a better person on the other side of mindlessly eating Cheetos. So the irony is when you're feeling down, when you're feeling in a pit or in a tunnel, the temptation is going to be overwhelmingly to reach for type 1, right? It is for me. I don't know about you, but I think there's something about the human brain that when we're in that pit, the thing that we most want is just that immediate comfort. And actually, it's the thing that harms us the most. So, are you seeking type 1 fun or are you seeking type 2 fun? And you can actually make type 2 fun such a habit in your life that eventually you don't even really reach for type 1 fun anymore. I mean, I occasionally will go shopping, or occasionally will overeat the wrong kinds of food. But I've reached a level now of habit with it where I just know it's not going to give me what I need. So it's like you will reach a point if you just keep going for that type 2 fun, even when you don't feel like it. Eventually, you're just going to reach a place where you no longer are interested in the type 1 fun stuff. You don't associate pleasure with it because you've associated enough pleasure with the type 2 fun. The second concept I want to share with you, which is definitely connected, is are you living with your values? That's the second question I want to ask you if you're feeling down. Are you living with your values? I guess in some ways this is another way of saying the first concept, but I find if I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling like I'm in a tunnel, the tendency again can be to stray from values, right? Say you have good boundaries set up, or say you've been in a really good practice of eating or sleeping well, or you've got everything it's a well-oiled machine and you're feeling good and you're feeling on top of it. And then you hit that moment of down And the tendency is to move away from your own values, to sacrifice your own values. I think it takes more power when you're feeling down, more strength, more effort, more energy to keep your values as a priority for whatever reason. It's almost like your defenses are down. But I would just urge you to ask yourself that if you are feeling down just now, are you living inside of your values? Are you keeping energy behind your values? Because it takes a bit of discipline. Having values is almost like wearing a suit. And it's not your most comfy joggers. It's not your most comfy attire. But it makes you more of who you are. And it requires that you iron it. And it requires that it's fitted and it's tailored to you. And sometimes it doesn't feel as comfortable as a pair of joggers, but if you're wearing it right, it will feel comfortable. It'll just feel sharp. And that's how you want your values to feel. When you're in survival mode, it's so easy to reach for the things that give you that immediate gratification. But I urge you, if you're feeling that feeling of downness, I offer you that you could lean more into your values in that time, even though that takes strength. It's like going to the gym. It's like the days where you least want to go are the days when you most actually need to go. Number 3, are you creating? Emotion is fuel. Emotion is petrol, right? Think about your sadness. Think about your anger. Think about whatever emotion you're experiencing as a canister of petrol, right? Are you going to use that canister of petrol to burn your house to the ground? Or are you going to use it to pour it into the car and drive, right? That's the power of your emotion. To quote an example, making this album, I've got a lot of emotion going into this record. I'm talking about my childhood. I'm talking about breakups. I'm talking about money. I'm talking about friendship. I'm talking about the dark sides of all of these things that really plague you in the middle of the night, that you're awake in your bed at 2 a.m. thinking, why did this happen like this? Why did that happen like that? You're struggling with it. You feel alone with it. I feel so blessed, man, to have music. I really do, because if I didn't, where would I put that? Where would I put that? Probably I would put it somewhere like boxing. I used to rap, so that was another place I put my emotion. It's interesting, actually, because I think when I was a younger man, I had so much anger in me. And I think rap was more aligned for me at that time because I could really put aggression in there. It wasn't necessarily even about the subject I was exploring in that song at that time. I just felt so much anger inside of me, and rap felt like this real good place to put that. The energy of rap felt appropriate for how I felt at that time. And I think it's interesting why a lot of young men, and also some young women, find that such a great genre. I think it feels really good to have a place to kind of put that energy. Now, rap's a very positive place to put that if that's what you're experiencing. Similarly, a lot of folk singers, I think, are singing, they're dealing with quite morose topics. They're dealing with death and suffering and loss and heartbreak. But it's a more positive place to put that energy than your personal relationships and the people around you. So I don't know how people who don't have a creative outlet survive, honestly. I don't know. And I would guess that a lot of their loved ones and a lot of their interpersonal relationships are the place where that stuff gets put. And so for me, it feels so good, man, to have right behind me, I've got the laptop and the interface and the mic, and that's having a rough week. Let me tell you, that's getting a hard time off of me about all of my suffering, all of my pain. That's where I'm putting it. That's where it's all going. Are you creating? If you're feeling down, are you creating? Because at least you're getting that energy out of you and it's going somewhere. And I offer you to think about that canister of petrol, of your sadness or your fear, your suffering. Where's it going? Where's it going? My girlfriend, Jen, she's a painter, and if she's in a bad place, she goes there. She just goes there, and that works, It just works. And I feel so blessed to have that, and I hope for you that you have that. And if you want any help on finding that for yourself, come join us in the club. I've got a club, there's 550 of us in there, and the main aim of the club is to help people uncover that for themselves and help people stay disciplined and stay creative. If you want to join, click the top comment or the link in the description. The fourth question I want to ask you in relation to feeling down: are you being your own friend? Now, let's define what a good friend does when you're feeling down. They're just with you. They're just there. We've all had a friend who's really down, and let's be honest, right? It's not easy to be a friend to someone who's down. This is the mistake that I see a lot of people make with the concept of be your own friend, right? Is they think it means like give yourself a bubble bath and light candles. And no, it's like sometimes having a friend who's down in the dumps is hard. Like Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore, right? Eeyore's always down, and it's not easy, but it's a very, very generous thing to offer. In some of the most dark periods of my life, the people that had the biggest impact were not the ones who gave me advice, not the ones who told me exactly what to do, but the ones who were just there and said, just come and hang out, just be there, That's a real gift. And that's actually a gift you can give yourself. You can just be there with yourself in that suffering. Not in a perfect way, but you can just be there. You can just allow that part of yourself to be there. Have some compassion for it and witness it and be with it. That's probably all it needs. That down feeling, that sad feeling, it probably just needs to be witnessed and experienced. And that's something that you can kind of give yourself. Just to be like, man, I'm just a human. I'm just kind of having a hard time. And I'm just going to be with myself. And I'm going to use that as a reason to love myself more rather than love myself less. It's crazy, right? How so many of us we feel down, and then we use that as a reason to just absolutely kick the crap out of ourselves. What if you used it instead? Use it as a reason to love yourself more. Almost imagine there's a CCTV camera in the room looking at you and be like, oh, there's a wee human just having a bad day, having a tough day, struggling, still getting on with it, still doing their things, just struggling a bit. That's a perspective that really helps me a lot when I'm feeling down. The fifth question I want to ask you is, what would this feel like in spring or summer? If you're struggling right now, what would the quote-unquote problem that you're dealing with, how would it feel if you were standing next to a tree that had cherry blossom coming off of it, and it was warm and it was light until 9 at night, and you were sitting out on the grass eating a meal at 8 at night in the warmth? How would it all feel? Because that's coming. Just remember that. Spring's coming, guys. Don't make any major life decisions in the next month or two. We're in January, February at the time of recording this video. So I just want to say that. Don't make any huge life decisions. Don't buy a pet. Don't move house. Just chill. Just be with the feeling. It's all good. A couple extra bonus questions I want to ask that I thought about today. And this is a real big one, actually, is what am I not giving myself? And I'm expecting someone else to give it to me. I don't know about you guys, but that's something I really struggled with. I struggled with that for a long time, really making other people responsible for my happiness. Isn't that crazy? Let's just think about that for a sec. We're like struggling to feel happy, and we think, I'll just give someone else this job that I can't even do this myself. I can't make myself happy. Let me give this job to my ex-partner, or let me give this job to an emotionally unavailable family member. Let me give this job to a friend who's really busy. Isn't that crazy? Think about that for a second. We can't make ourselves happy because it's hard. It's because it's a near impossible job. So then we give that job to someone who's less equipped than us to do it. It's a bad way to live a life. And trust me, I'm saying that as someone who I have tried. I've really tried for years and years and years to get someone else to make me be happy. And I still fall prey to thinking it's a good idea. It's like the biggest emotional scam of all time. The biggest relational scam of all time is thinking someone else can make me fulfilled. Here's a thing that I use to help myself get out of that mentality. Number one, I ask myself, what am I not giving myself that I'm expecting them to give me? Now, I'm going to give you quite a personal, painful example from my own life. Was I got diagnosed with ADHD, and I was asking a friend to understand, a friend who doesn't really believe in ADHD or believe in spectrum type stuff. I wanted for them to understand how much it was impacting me, right? And we'd fallen out, and I was just beside myself in my own mind. I was in this park with Rosa, she was playing, and I was just thinking over and over, why can't they accept that I have this thing? Why can't they accept it? And eventually I turned it around and I said, why can't I accept it? And I realized that's what I needed. I needed me to realize, why can't I just accept that I have that? And as soon as I accepted it, by the way, I ended up booking an appointment with the doctor. I ended up going and just getting a bunch of help with stuff. So when you're feeling really down, this is a question you could ask yourself, and it's not in a way to beat yourself up at all. It's not in a way to say, oh, I'm such a bad person. It's just in a way of asking, what am I not giving myself that I'm expecting someone else to give me? And you might be surprised by how much help you can actually get from yourself once you're on your own side. The last thing I want to ask you, and I'm asking you this because this is something I've been meditating on a lot this week, is where are you getting your sense of significance and meaning from? I came from a lot of stuff, okay? I came from an upbringing. I came from a place. I came from violence. I came from poverty. And I managed to build a great life. And to get to that great life, I had to go up levels, right? The first level is where you are and suffering and struggle. The second is overcoming, survival, right? That's actually the name of my new album. I called it Survival. And it's exploring all that stuff. And I'm looking forward to exploring it. And then I'm looking forward to laying it to bed and moving on and just enjoying my life. And I want to ask you on this Sunday, where are you getting your sense of significance and meaning in your life? Because depending on where you are in the journey, it can be good to get a sense of significance from being a survivor, surviving. I've survived, I've overcome it. And for a long time, if you've come from something really difficult, you just need to adopt that kind of mindset in order to get to the next level, and that's appropriate. But once you've conquered that level and been inside of that level for long enough, at some point you're going to need to just lay down the kind of like warrior, surviving, survivor mode, struggle mode. And you're going to need to just find your significance and find your meaning from another place. And I'm saying this, guys, to myself today. This is where I'm at in my journey right now. But I do think it's pertinent to the discussion of feeling down, because there can be, I don't know, for the ladies out there, I know for me as a man, I know for a lot of men, there can be a lot of energy, right, in being charged. When you think about the term charged, it can mean you're emotionally charged, or it can mean charged, like fully charged, a battery fully charged, right? You can get an energy off of surviving. You can get an energy off of pushing and making it happen. And I did it. Look, guys, I made it happen. I did it. I proved that I could do it, right? Is that how you want to live your whole life? Is that how I want to live my whole life? I want to have peace in my life. I want to have calmness in my life and good relationships and a good life. I've built a good life. I want to enjoy my good life now. I want to get my significance and my meaning from purpose. I want to get my significance and my meaning from sharing and all the good positive things in life. And that's what I will leave you with today on this Sunday. I hope you guys have had a great week. Thank you very much for giving me your time and attention today. It means the world. If you'd like to come join us in my club, there's 550 of us in my club right now. And what you get inside the club is you get access to a WhatsApp group with me and loads of other people who are working on this stuff and building a good life. You get access to concert footage, documentaries, films, unreleased music. All my albums that I'm taking down off Spotify are going to be inside of my club. You're also going to get every single online concert as of this year is going to be on there for free now. This year I'm going to be going into the recording studio and opening up my old albums and making films out of going through the albums and showing you exactly how I made them. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm super excited about that. So it's my whole life. It's my life's work inside of the club. And you get all that for $1.50 inside the club. That's the lowest point of entry. Other people are paying $10, $50, $100 because they end up being in it and just going, the value in here is insane. But for me personally, I always want it to be as accessible as humanly possible. And that's why everyone gets the same stuff no matter what tier they're in. And for my club members who are watching this clip, I put this in the club every week, and I put this one clip on YouTube every week. But club members get way, way more inside the club, so definitely come join us. For my homies, for my club members who are watching this, I appreciate you guys. I want you to feel the depth of that statement. I really appreciate you. I really do. There's not much more I can say than that. So have a great week. Be good to each other. Peace and love. Chat soon.